So let's get into it. All right, I used to live out in Utah, and Utah's great for a lot of things. There's a lot of great things about Utah, and then there's also all the things that you first think of when you both of those things are there. And so I was living out there, and I was living in an apartment with a bunch of BYU students. And on Sundays, BYU students have a tendency to either go to church or invite everybody around them to go to church with them. And so I knew that that was going to be the case, and I knew that I just didn't really want to do that. So I had this habit that I would, every Sunday morning, usually before they were even up, at least like by the time they were out the door, I would already just be out in the mountains, because I could leave my apartment and like in 10 minutes walking, I didn't even have to drive to get to a trailhead. I was like within half-hour walking distance of like 5 different great trailheads that all like split off into the Wasatch Front, and it was awesome. So I just like would always just be in the mountains on the weekends all the time, and so mountains are like trying types of things, right? You know, and so I was up, and there's if you're in anywhere in Utah Valley where there's Brigham Young University and UVU, wasn't there a big fight at the UVU basketball game, sports guys? Anyway, anywhere, if you're anywhere in Utah Valley, there's Y Mount is what it's called, and there's this giant Y on it, and it's overlooking Brigham Young University campus. It was going to say BYU, but they got lazy. They did the Y first to get it centered, and then they just left Frisco. So there's this giant, powerful Y that's like staring down at you, reminding you where you are all the time. It's like this really ominous, this really powerful thing. And it's like halfway up this big grand mountain, and that's a popular hiking thing because it's like right next to the campus. Everyone can get to it. But if you go halfway up, you get to the Y, you take your picture, and everyone's like, "Yay, we're on a date. But we're probably be married next week." I don't know. Most of them don't know. We're not going to get bogged down on the marriage thing. Most of them don't know is you get to the Y, and then the trail splits, and it keeps going, and you can just keep going, and it goes up, and it wraps around through this pine canyon, and like right up, and you can just go and summit that mountain, and it's amazing, and nobody ever goes up there, and it's beautiful and fantastic. So I went up, and you get around. I had my Zune. Don't make fun of me about it. I got it as a gift. That was my choice. I had a Zune on, and I was listening to, man, this story is, I'm now realizing how embarrassing it is. I had my Zune, and I was listening to the Hörenspiele, which are the radio plays of Lord of the Rings. So there's a German narrator, I went to Germany for a while, there's a German narrator and different voice actors for each of the characters. I was listening to it, and it was like, right at the end of, it was really foggy, and I was like going through this like foggy mountainous terrain, and it was fantastic and beautiful. And like right as, at the end of Two Towers, Sam is like, "Maybe they'll be telling stories about us, Mr. Frodo." right as that's happening, the fog clears and the sun comes out. It was amazing. Then there was just this valley behind the mountain. This story is just a series of smaller stories, so that's the end of the first one. And then I keep going, and I'm in grass that's about knee-high, and I'm wearing shorts like an idiot. You don't wear shorts when you're hiking in the mountains. That's a stupid thing to do. Especially when you hear that there's a rattlesnake right there. Which is what I heard. And I'm in knee-high grass, and I can't see it. I know there's a rattlesnake. And so I pull out my switchblade as if that will do something. Way faster than me. I jump over it, and then that story has an anticlimactic ending. Then I keep going. It starts getting snowy, and I keep piling through up to get to the summit. And I see like 100 meters ahead of me, there's just like this guy standing there. He's like leaning, he's wearing like a hat. And I see him, what am I gonna do? Who is this guy? What's going on? I'm like terrified. I'm like slowly going. And building suspense to myself. For the audience. and then eventually I realized it's just a dead piece of wood. So then, eventually, like, I could see the summit, but it just keeps taking forever to get there. But eventually I get there, and I'm on top of a mountain. And it's so foggy and cloudy still that I can't see down into Utah Valley where I'm living, where I like hate living. I like hated being down in Provo, Utah. I hated being in that place. And that, like, I just couldn't, it was gone. It didn't exist. It was just like, just clouds and nothingness. And then if I looked the other way, I just could see out into the Wasatch Front for I don't know how far. And it was beautiful and powerful and unbelievable. And when I was on top of this mountain, I had these two seemingly contradictory feelings. I had first this like really powerful feeling. I was like, I own everything I see. I've climbed this like beast of nature and I've conquered it because I'm here and I own it. And then the other feeling I had was I am this tiny nothing. If I died, this mountain would forget I ever existed. It doesn't even know who I am. And I'm just in this enormous mountain range that goes on forever. And I was struck with those two feelings at the exact same time, where I was like this immortal conqueror and then this just completely insignificant human nothing in the middle of this enormous wilderness that I just couldn't even understand. And then I climbed back down.